Hello and welcome into another edition of my CD pickups. Yeah, let's just get stuck in. The first album I'm going to talk about is Badass's debut album, Word on the Streets. This came out in 1998. This is a pretty dope album. I thought it was very good. Badass, of course, known for his affiliation with like the DPG. Um, the Dog Pound Gangsters, Click, Snoop Dogg and Daz and, Trey D and people like that. Yeah, I thought this was a very good album. This came out in Priority Records in 1998. Very good production. You got like Ant Banks and DJ Pooh and stuff like that on here. Gangsta from the Comrades does some production on here. I thought it was a very good album, and I like Badass as an MC. I like his voice. You know what I mean? He actually has kind of the sort of reminds me of someone on the East Coast. His voice, but obviously he's West Coast and he has some really dope production. And he's got some features on here like Snoop Dogg, The Outlaws, Corrupt's on here as well. So yeah, I thought it was a dope album, and I got it really cheap as well. It usually goes for some money, but Badass Word on the Streets, definitely a good album. The next album I'm going to show off is Warren G's second album. Take a look, Take a Look Over Your Shoulder, Reality. This came out in 1997. As I mentioned, this is the second album, the follow up to Regulate, which came out in 94, which is like seen as a classic album and stuff like that. I personally think that album's a little bit overrated, but still a very good album. I think it's a good album, but overrated in my opinion. This album is pretty good. I actually quite like it. It's nothing really that remarkable. Like a lot of people say, this is pretty weak. Actually, it's pretty weak follow up, but I thought it was pretty fun. I really like the song Annie Mae with Nate Dogg and stuff like that. This is a really good Nate Dogg, not Nate Hogg. Who's that? Nate Dogg. Really good hook on that. And yeah, I just generally thought it was good. It's like similar kind of vibe to the first one, but still G funk and all that. But this album I think is a bit more polished in its sound. There's like a grittiness to the Regulate album for this album doesn't really have, but I thought it was still pretty good. And it's really cheap. This is actually the American cover. The European, like the international cover, is like a different one where he's just looking straight ahead, and I think that's silly. I like this one more because it matches the title. It's still not a very good album cover, let's be honest, but yeah, I thought that was a decent album. Not too bad. It's nothing that great, but it's all right. Warren G, Take a Look Over Your Shoulder. It's not bad. So yeah, next one is also 1997. This was inspired by watching Mike Sears' recent review for this album. It is Capone-N-Noreaga, The War Report. Yeah, very good album. Kind of hard, a little bit hard to get, at least over here. It seems to be out of print, and I can't, it can be a little bit hard to get this album. But yeah, really glad I have it. A lot of people compare this album to like, Mobb Deep's The Infamous, and yeah, definitely that sort of influence or that sort of comparison is definitely understandable. You know what I mean? That's definitely that sort of hard hitting East Coast stuff. Really good album. My favorite song on here is actually the song Capone Bone, which doesn't really sound like the rest of the album, but I really like that song. It's a bit of a banger. I believe it was Marty Marl on the beat there. Very good. Really good album. Really happy to have it. So yeah, definitely check out Mike Sayers' review for this album. Yeah, really good. The next few are all from the charity shop. This first one's a bit weird. It is Welcome to the Church. Welcome to the Church, Volume 5, The Revival. This is a mixtape. This is Snoop Dogg. What's the Doggy Style Records mixtape, basically. So there's a lot of Snoop Dogg on it, but you've also got other guys on here like Superfly, Cocaine's on here, Daz, and that's about it. And there's like some other. It uses like a lot of samples, like like a lot of classic funk samples from the 70s and stuff like that, which is probably why it's a mixtape because it's got a lot of those samples on here. It's not too bad. It's actually a bit better than I expected, but it's still not that great. It's really long. It plays more out like an actual. It feels like a compilation album rather than a mixtape. You know what I mean? Because a lot of mixtapes around this time were more like the songs were short and they had like DJs like shouting over them and all that sort of stuff. This isn't that sort of mixtape. It's more of just like a compilation album. It's okay. It's not too bad. I don't really recommend it, but I found it in the charity shop. I thought might as well pick it up. I actually passed on it a couple of times because it was like, I don't really need this, but I ended up picking it up when I saw it again, and it's okay. Yeah, the UK seems to love pressing up these mixtapes and stuff like that. And when you look them up on Amazon, they actually go for some money, which I think is kind of funny because who would buy this? But yeah, it's all right. Welcome to the Church, Volume 5, The Revival. I think there's like 7 or 8 of these. It's pretty insane. This came out in 2004, by the way, in case you were wondering. The next one, another charity shop buy. This is Busta Rhymes with the album The Big Bang. This came out in 2006. I believe this is his seventh album. Yeah. Um, as you may know, if you follow my channel, I have two other Busta Rhymes albums. I have Extinction Level Event, which I know a lot of people like, but I didn't like it at all. And I have the album It Ain't Safe No More, which is just horrendous. This album is actually my favorite Busta Rhymes albums out of all the ones I've heard. So I thought it was pretty good actually. Yeah, I think the second half of the album is where it really shines, and it gets pretty damn good for the most part. Apart from the song Get Down, it's atrocious. But yeah, there's a couple of stinkers on this album, but it's pretty good. It is pretty good. This actually came out on Aftermath. He's kind of like the exception as far as like an established big artist signing to Aftermath and actually releasing an album, because we all know what happened to guys like RBX and King T and Rakim, you know what I mean? Raekwon even, you know what I mean? They never dropped their albums, but yeah, this one came out and it turned out pretty good. I think a lot of beats on here are pretty good, and Busta Rhymes is pretty good, and there's good guest features on here from the likes of Raekwon, Nas is on here, Q-Tip, pretty good stuff, and yeah, I definitely recommend checking it out. It's pretty good. It's not bad. I'm really happy to find it in the charity shop. I don't know why Busta Rhymes always seems to be lurking in the charity shops, but yeah, it's a pretty good album. It's definitely my favorite out of the stuff that I've heard from him so far. Next one is another charity shop buy. This one's I'm really happy to find. This is actually well, let me show it first. D12 Devil's Night. This is the special edition that has the bonus disc with the song "Shit on You," which was actually originally it was actually released as the first single, but they ended up not having it on the standard version. Um, I have no idea why they released that as a lead single because it has so much profanity in it, and when they released it, it was so edited, it was like unlistenable, the clean version. So I don't know why they put that out as a lead single, but yeah, they took it off and then they made it like an extra on that bonus disc. The album itself, this is actually the first time this is the first like Eminem related album I own, believe it or not. The only Eminem albums that I really like are the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP. The rest, the Eminem Show has its moments, but there's stuff on there that I don't really like. Then all the albums after that, not really a big fan of. So yeah, first I just haven't gotten around to getting any Eminem albums. I don't really feel the need to get any personally because I've heard the Slim Shady LP and the Marshall Mathers LP a lot, and yeah, I'm surprised I haven't seen them in like a charity shop or something. But yeah, anyway, I'm glad to find this album D12 with Devil's Night. This is their first album that came out in 2001. Um, I always liked this album. I always thought it was a very good album, and the thing about re-listening to it, I actually really like all the members in D12. The only one I don't really like is Bizarre. He tries too hard to be all shocking and controversial of his lyrics, but it just comes across as kind of lame. But I think the rest of the guys are pretty good, and I think this is a really enjoyable album. It's really violent and really horrible and stuff, but that's the stuff that I like. Really good songs on here, like everyone should know the song "Fight Music." I think that's probably one of the best songs on the album. I really like the song "Instigator" too, which was actually a subliminal diss to Esham. Um, you know, yeah, that's about it. But yeah, there's plenty of good songs on here anyway, and I think it's a very good album. It's very long. That's my only real problem with it, but it is a very good album. So yeah, that's D12 with Devil's Night. So came out in 2001. Fond memories of that album. I remember it when it first came out. Next up, I have I'm continuing on from last video. I'm going to show both of these at once because I might as well. I got E40's revenue retrieve and overtime shift and the graveyard shift. I had these last video, but I just thought I would split them up because I didn't want to talk about four E40 albums at once. Um, it's the same sort of thing. I think this album is dope. I think it's pretty good, surprisingly good. He's like on his gangster shit for most of this album, and it's pretty good. This album, though, I'm not really a big fan of. It's more sort of clubby music. There's some good stuff in this one. My favorite song is Concrete. That's pretty good. But this album is good. I actually recommend this one quite a bit. I think it's a pretty good album. The way it starts off, the song Mr. Flamboyant 2K11, that's like a remake of the song Mr. Flamboyant, which was, I believe, on the Mr. Flamboyant EP and also on the Click's first album, Down and Dirty. And he the his son Droopy remade the beat and stuff like that, and it sounds banging with modern technology. I would love for him to do like a complete like mob music album. You know what I mean, with beats all like that. That would be really really good. And the song Drugs after that's really good as well. And there's lots of stuff on here I really like. I like the Click About It song with the click at the end, stuff like that. Rear View Mirror with Be Legit. The song Looking Back with Devin the Dude. Devin the Dude talks about how how he met E40 and the days where they were in the Rap A Lot offices and stuff like that. I thought it was a really cool song. I thought this was a dope album, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was well worth checking out. This one is okay, but I'm sort of I'm glad I have it. It was actually kind of cheap, but yeah, it's not really that good, that one. So yeah, both of these came out in 2011 on the same day, just in case in case you want to know. And the Day Shift came out the year before in 2010. The Day Shift, Night Shift albums, they came out the year before. So yeah, that's that. And then one more, and then we're gonna end it off. I do have more to show, but I want to listen to them more first before I make a video on it. And then yeah, so this is the last one. This one I'm really really happy to get. This is the only one that I kind of paid a little bit more for, but well worth it in my opinion. This is very underrated Bay Area album from 1997. It is Three Times Crazy with Stack and Chips. Three Times Crazy, for those who don't know, were a group consisting of Agerman, Keek the Snake, who would go on to have like some success with like the hyphy movement, and then BA or Bart or whatever he wants to call himself. Yeah, I really like all three guys. I don't really like Keek the Snake on his later stuff, but on this album he's pretty dope. And if you think Keek the Snake's whack, go and listen to Sibo's the Autopsy EP. He appears on the song. I want to say "Stomping on My Steel Toes." Yeah, I think he's on that song. Him and Adrian were in a group called Jewel Committee, and yeah, they appear on that song on that album, and Kick the Snake's really dope. But later on, he developed this weird like voice and flow and stuff like that, which he uses a little bit on this album, but it's not too bad. And I really like the other two members. I think Adrian Man's a really dope MC, pretty underrated definitely. I think it's a really good album. The beats are great, and I think all three MCs are really entertaining. And there's some good guest features on here from E40, who I just showed. Seagram, RIP. This would be like a posthumous feature because he died the year before. Both members of the Loonies are on here as well, so yeah, I highly recommend this. Both of the singles are banging. Keep It on the Rail and Ghetto Soldiers, they're really dope songs. I also really like the song track 5, Next Niggas Ho. If you check that song out, it's really good, really banging beat for that. Yeah, it's a really good album. I'm really happy to have it. This one is out of print, goes for quite a bit of money, but really happy to have it. That's Three Times Crazy with Stack and Chips. And yeah, that's it. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sorry if that wasn't underground enough for some of you, but I'm only joking. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it.